Super Saiyan 2 is a form I feel people and the creators of Dragon Ball seem to forget of its very existence, being overshadowed by its many successors and not having as much of a contrast to its predecessor as the forms that follow. But personally, it's a form that is always in the forefront of my mind, and I always love whenever I get to see it. I'm going to go over the narrative and conceptual aspects of the form, then followed by its design, abilities, and its uses in Z and Super, including its many ambiguous appearances and the confusion that comes with it. So, let's get into it. Throughout the early chapters of Dragon Ball Z, the story's stakes keep rising to levels of power that seem incomprehensible. Like how Raditz is so much stronger than someone like Master Roshi, who way earlier on in the story was able to destroy the entire moon. For reference, Raditz is well over 10 times stronger than that, really making you wonder what kind of damage to the Earth he can do. And soon after, we would see those thoughts in action, when Nappa destroys a whole city with just a wave of 2 fingers. Seeing that can make you think, imagine if he was actually trying, only for him to be completely outshined by Vegeta, who kills him just by powering up his ki. You realize Vegeta can probably blow up the entire planet if he so chooses. And we see just that. He literally tries to blow up the entire planet, and the only reason he fails is because Goku, through the use of the Kaioken, fires an even more powerful beam to deflect it. The story's protagonist is at a level that he can destroy an entire planet if he chooses to. Granted, it completely drains him and puts him in the hospital for quite a while, but still. You begin to wonder, how can the story continue? How much stronger can a protagonist get? We then move on to the Namek saga, and we begin seeing characters all over with this incredible might, only even more powerful than before, and they just keep on getting stronger the more introduced. And all of this is not to mention the overlooming threat of Frieza, who apparently can defeat all of these characters without even breaking a sweat. But actually seeing him fight at first, you can assume that maybe he's not actually all that powerful in comparison to our heroes. Maybe the insane levels of power will finally stop here and only skill will matter, until the revelation of Frieza's other forms. With his final form being so powerful, it can easily defeat Goku at Kaioken times 20, who is, just to put it into perspective, at a power level of 60 million. That's the numbers we're dealing with. Reminder that to destroy the entire moon, the power level was around 130, and to destroy a planet in its entirety was around a measly 24,000. Goku is 2,500 times more powerful than that, and Frieza can absolutely defeat him with utter ease. And then you remember the Super Saiyan constantly being teased, a power that even frightened Frieza. And when it finally appears, our perspective of strength has reached its limits. The battle that ensues after cements that peak, showing beings battle at levels that simple punches and energy blasts can destroy huge mountains and settlements without even a blink of an eye, causing massive weather and sea distortions without even noticing, blowing the entire planet without even a strain. The blast Frieza uses to destroy the planet is a giant sphere, one he barely put energy into making. And after this insane battle, you can finally say the ever-increasing power levels has finally reached its climax. And that seems to be further proven by the fact that when Frieza returns, he's not that much stronger, and although Trunks is far superior to him, he's still using the same Super Saiyan transformation, and is still within the same realm of the final battle of Namek. Plus, you can assume maybe Frieza isn't as powerful in his damaged cybernetic body. But then, Trunks says the androids are that much stronger than him, completely ruining his timeline. So can there really be more power to come? But that seems to be quickly debunked by the androids being taken out relatively easily by Super Saiyan Vegeta, once again showing that the Super Saiyan transformation is the definitive height of power. Besides, the androids seem to rely on gimmicks and tricks to combat them, with their energy absorption. So maybe all future antagonists will rely on new tricks instead of sheer strength. But all that is immediately set aside when androids 17 and 18 are unleashed upon the world, defeating Super Saiyan Vegeta in mere moments without so much as a strain. And just like that, we're back to the ever-increasing power levels, with each new threat surpassing the last. And then, Cell says he will absorb these unstoppable androids and become even more powerful than them combined, plus the moveset of all the most powerful beings in the series. And now we're left to wonder, how will the Saiyans surpass him? Vegeta questions, how can the supposedly invincible Super Saiyan transformation not be enough? We wonder, how will they become stronger? Perhaps they'll train and increase the power of their Super Saiyan transformation, kind of like how they used to increase their base forms. Then Vegeta says it, the line that shows what's to come. He says he'll surpass the Super Saiyan transformation. He'll find the next level, the next form. And after training in the hyperbolic time chamber for a year, he claims he's done it, that he's somehow gone beyond the Super Saiyan. And then, we finally see it. He dubs it Super Vegeta. or as we call it now, Super Saiyan Grade 2. And all I can say is, this is really the next step. This slightly buffed up version of Super Saiyan, all it is a bulkier Super Saiyan with no actual changes to it. It's boring and not very compelling. But the story then implies Trunks has actually found this next form. And what is it? It's even worse. It's an even bulkier version of the once clean, sleek, and iconic looking Super Saiyan. In no way a worthy contender, let alone a successor. However, Goku then says in the Time Chamber with Gohan that Super Saiyan Grade 2 and especially Grade 3 isn't a better option, with the latter in particular constraining the user in terms of speed and agility, hindering the fighter to a point of utter failure. He then says that training to empower the original Super Saiyan is the best way forward. So it looks like that's the way the story will go. The Super Saiyan form will remain the peak of power. It is the invincible form the legend foretold. They'll just train to empower the form, akin to how they train to empower their base forms. And that appears to be the case. Goku and Gohan shock everyone at their new power after mastering the original Super Saiyan form, achieving what people would call Mastered Super Saiyan, or Super Saiyan Grade 4, keeping the original form's power and enhancements while also nullifying the constant strain it caused. Goku shows his new power, shocking Vegeta, Trunks, and Piccolo, all characters who were momentarily considered the strongest Z fighter just a few chapters ago. And the battle with Cell then begins, both fighting on equal footing, the Super Saiyan form showing its place at the top of the ever-growing mountain of power. The fight progresses, back and forth they go. Then, Goku pulls off my favorite Kamehameha in the series, the Instant Kamehameha, or the Warp Kamehameha, seemingly ending the battle and showing his superiority. But Cell regenerates, and instead of continuing this battle, Goku tells Cell another is to continue this brawl, someone with even more power than himself, someone who has been foreshadowed from the very beginning of Z to be the most powerful being in the universe, Gohan. And then you remember, before Cell, the androids, Frieza, the Ginyu Force, Vegeta, Nappa, all the way back to Raditz, to the beginning of Z, when all of the trained and experienced Z fighters were rendered completely helpless against the evil Saiyan, somehow, the little 4-year-old boy was able to hit Raditz with a strike so powerful that it completely changed the tide of the battle, his power level jumping to a number higher than either Goku or Piccolo, and somehow he was able to contend with the likes of Nappa and Vegeta, eventually going as far as putting up a substantial fight against Frieza himself. This boy should have been out of his league a long time ago. Then you remember why he held up for so long, his latent potential. But that was already unlocked by Guru. Surely there isn't more power to be tapped into. Throughout Goku's skirmish with Cell, Gohan seemed to be unimpressed by the sheer power emanating from his father and the bio-android. And to everyone's shock, he says he thought Goku was holding back throughout the whole battle, that he had more in him. Goku tells him it's his turn to fight, that the Earth's fate is in his hands. And Gohan proves right away he wasn't bluffing, holding his own against Cell on par if not better than his father, until he realizes why his father sent him to fight, because he knows that Gohan's inner strength is beyond anyone else's. And Gohan, being the gentle-hearted boy he always was, tells this to Cell, hoping to discourage him from fighting, so Gohan won't have to hurt him. Even after all the evil Cell has and will eventually do, Gohan still wants to spare him. But of course, Cell takes this in the worst way he can, saying he loves the prospect of battling an even stronger Gohan to the death. And he then releases the Cell Juniors to make all of Gohan's friends and family suffer before him, all while grabbing him into a crushing, searing pain, telling him to let out his power. But Gohan can't. He's never been a fighter. He doesn't want to fight. Even with all of this pain, he doesn't want to hurt anyone, Cell included. But then, he sees the head of Android 16, a machine built for killing Goku. A machine, or more a person, that has decided to do the right thing, to protect the world, to protect the innocent wildlife. A person who tried to sacrifice himself for the world. He looks up at Gohan, and he says it's okay to fight those who are evil, that not everyone can be reasoned with, and he tells Gohan to let the anger within him flow freely, to let go. Cell quickly kills 16 right in front of Gohan, paying little attention to the android he just slain. And with that, Gohan's fury finally unleashes in one powerful scream. And finally, the answer to surpassing the Super Saiyan wall has been brought into fruition. A form unlocked from the inner well of power deep within Gohan. A form that in retrospect has been foreshadowed since the beginning of Z, well before the Super Saiyan itself. And it's clear right away how much more powerful it is than its predecessor, blasting away the Cell Juniors like they're nothing more than specks in the wind, and humiliating Cell to a point of utter desperation. Super Saiyan 2 quickly makes the Super Saiyan form obsolete. It doesn't just replace it, it builds off it. So let's move on to that. Design-wise, Super Saiyan is truly befitting the iconic status it's gained, making Goku's hair color change to a vibrant golden flare, causing it to raise up like an unwieldy flame, his eyes turning to a sharp green with no pupils, and his aura also emanating those golden flames. It feels like a new power in a sleek and natural way. It could have easily been a simple, bulkier Goku, kinda like how Master Roshi used to power up, but instead we got the sleek look of Super Saiyan. So how do you top that? The answer is to take what worked before and streamline it further, keeping the original look and adding more detail and intimidation to it without losing the original vision. The iconic hair has been made spikier and rougher looking, losing that calmer looking, fluffy look. You could definitely see the hair difference most on Gohan, with it making his hair look like sharp daggers. I also love the little bang that comes out in the front. I feel like it's kinda a symbol of Gohan having to let go of his calmer nature, like a reminder of the moment he snapped. And then as for the fiery aura, which matched nicely with the flame-like fluffy hair, now there's bolts of lightning coursing within it, better fitting the spikier hair that comes with this form. It's not much different, but it's still a strong step for a new form, like a better, more complete version of Super Saiyan. And personally, I've always liked how it looks a little better. A slightly sleeker form, which then moves me on to its abilities. The original Super Saiyan was a 50 times multiplier to the user's base form. Super Saiyan 2 is 2 times that, so 100 times the user's base form, truly making the first form a shadow of its power. And I also love that the power of Super Saiyan 2 isn't immediately outshined, with it being a new height for the Saiyans to try to maintain in the Buu saga. How its debut is constantly being referenced by the Saiyans as a might that must be achieved in order to call yourself a contender for being truly powerful. And it also stays relevant due to it not having any real downsides like Super Saiyan 3. It doesn't drain stamina at an alarming rate. The only downsides of the form is that the creators of Dragon Ball seem to forget about its existence, due to it looking so similar to the first Super Saiyan, and being less iconic. But surprisingly, it has made a decent amount of appearances in Dragon Ball Super. So let's discuss those. First off in Battle of Gods, where in the anime, and hopefully in the remake, and in the manga for a brief moment, Goku uses the form to fight Beerus before going further into Super Saiyan 3, and later Beerus faces it again when Vegeta uses it while being enraged against him. Moving on from that, the form is used by future Trunks, who has achieved the form as many of you may know from the Super manga or the DBZ Kakarot DLC after watching Babidi and Dabura kill Supreme Kai. Trunks, in a fit of rage, unlocks Super Saiyan 2, and with it and Shin's help, he was able to prevent the reawakening of Majin Buu. And later, we would see him and Goku use the form while training to determine how powerful Goku Black is. Which, interestingly enough, in the manga, like most of this arc, the scene is quite different, where in the anime, Goku prevails as soon as he uses Super Saiyan 3. In the manga, he only wins after using Super Saiyan God. Because in the manga, we see Trunks' Super Saiyan 2 is upgraded to be on par with Super Saiyan 3, which reminds me of how Vegeta was supposedly also using Super Saiyan 2 at a Super Saiyan 3 level, against Beerus when enraged. So this is all implying that Super Saiyan 2 not only makes Super Saiyan irrelevant, it also makes Super Saiyan 3 completely obsolete as well, with it not having the same draining effect on the user, while also having strength that matches it. This is definitely something to think about, and it leads to the whole theory that Vegeta stopped using Super Saiyan 3 after Daima due to it not being a great form, and that when he was enraged he saw that Super Saiyan 2 was able to be on par with 3, and that's a video for a whole nother day. So moving on, we see the form when Goku fights Goku Black, as well as when he fights Zamasu in Universe 10. And then there's another interesting one. In the manga, Goku Black is capable of using a regular, non-divine Super Saiyan. But notice the electric sparks. It can be deduced he's using Super Saiyan 2, until you notice his hair is in line with Super Saiyan 1, which then leads me to the constant contradictions of the lightning effect being in Super Saiyan 1. A moment that comes immediately to my mind is when, in the Bardock special, Bardock goes Super Saiyan and we see his aura coursing with the blue sparks. But looking at his hair and the obvious intentions of the plot indicates he's clearly using regular Super Saiyan. Now, the original Super Saiyan has been portrayed with an orange lightning, like in Sparking Zero and Mid-Z Goku transforms, but not typically with blue lightning. And I'm pretty sure there's more times when the creators confuse the two forms that's just not coming to mind right now, and it's definitely a weird set of frequent occurrences. And the last notable appearance in Super, the form plays a pretty significant role in the Tournament of Power, with it being a level that the Universe 6 Saiyans are attempting to achieve. And also, you might have noticed in the scene where Goku is probing Jiren's power and cycling through his transformations, he notably skips Super Saiyan 3 after using Super Saiyan 2, and just goes straight to Super Saiyan God, further adding to my earlier sentiments of Super Saiyan 2 sort of rendering Super Saiyan 3 useless. But don't get me wrong, I love Super Saiyan 3 and pretty much every Saiyan form. I already have videos of Super Saiyan Blue and Ultra Ego, and hopefully Super Saiyan 3 will be soon. Anyways, I hope I successfully conveyed to you how Super Saiyan 2 takes what worked before and further improves it. So please subscribe, and as always, thanks for watching, and I'll see ya.